It's 5 p.m. here in Accra. Hello and welcome to Start Today. Ahead in this evening's bulletin, President Akufo-Addo succumbs to widespread public pressure to take decisive action on Galamsey, orders police and military to crack down on menace.
The regular law enforcement apparatus of the state, the Ghana Police Service, should be the first port of call. If the need arises, we will take it a step further to the armed forces.
We have details of that crunch national security meeting called to assess the impact of Galamsey on water bodies in the country. Plus, we'll tell you why some CSOs want the immediate resignation of the lands minister and his deputies. Later in this bulletin, NDC demands immediate withdrawal and subsequent prosecution of NPP's Esojaman parliamentary candidate Pius Enam Hajide following Hajide's revelation of involvement in 2018 Australian visa scandal. And also in this bulletin, old students of O'Reilly Senior High School urge government to take drastic actions to stem rising tide of insecurity in Okpogono and its environs.
We are here today to call on government to help solve the urgent needs of the school, which includes security issues. We request for additional security personnel.
On our election hub, will the Electoral Commission's much advertised press conference to address growing concerns over authenticity of 2024 register still hold after several postponements? We'll be live at the Commission's corporate offices for updates from our reporter who has been anticipating the start of the media engagement just like the rest of the country. And finally, on campaign trail, we'll sit with independent parliamentary candidate Abdul Rauf Abugri, who has vowed to end the NPP NDC dominance in Ayawaso West Wuogon. All these coming up shortly.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Cool 103.5 FM in Ho, Rage and Might FM in Tamale, Somali FM in Wa, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM.
Thank you very much for choosing us. My name is Eko Boache. Now, President Akufo-Addo has succumbed to widespread public pressure to take a decisive action towards addressing the illegal mining menace. The impact of Galamsey has had a heavy toll on river bodies in the country as well as the environment. As things begin to get out of hand due to the polluted state of the country's water bodies, organized labor, religious leaders and traditional rulers have issued a stern warning to government to act to address the escalating Galamsey crisis or face their wrath. This prompted the government to summon a crunch national security meeting to assess the impact of the menace. Before I bring you details of the meeting, let's listen to the demand by organized labor for an immediate declaration of a state of emergency in Galamsey affected areas or the strike. Here's Deputy Secretary General of the Ghana Federation of Labour, Kenneth Kumson.
We needed to make sure that we get all the organized labor groups to align with the issues and take a common decision going forward. Organized labor, having considered the fact that we have about 200,000 here, the perpetrators of this what we call genocidal activity, illegal mining, Galamsey, constitute about 200,000. Which is about 0.67% of the total 30 million population. So you can imagine how small that number is. and the kind of devastation they are causing to all of us. Again, we're also told that already about 2.5 million hectares of our forest reserves already decimated. Now, that 2.5 million hectares, if you convert it, is about 25,000 square kilometers. That is about the size of Rwanda. So you are looking at a crisis situation where a whole country can just disappear because of some few greedy bastards. So we have taken a decision, and let me read just a portion of what organized labor has resolved. Recognizing all the issues, the turbidity levels, and we're also told that the acceptable range as mentioned by the Ghana Water Corporation, of the level of, if you like, pollution or disturbance within the water body is within 2,000, now escalated to 14,000, which is about 600% increase. This is very alarming. Having considered all of this, organized labor today decided that one, an immediate declaration of state of emergency in line with the provisions of the 1992 Constitution, Article 31, the declaration must incorporate the following. A, an order to halt all forms of mining, legal or illegal, in forest reserves and around water bodies. Immediate evacuation of all mining equipment in forest reserves and around water bodies. C, the deployment of police and military with full orders to remove, destroy all mining equipment, earth-moving equipment around river bodies and in the forest reserve. 2, the immediate revocation of LI 2462 and the withdrawal of all licenses that have been granted for prospecting in mining in forests and protected reserves and also around water bodies. Establish a special to prosecute the perpetrators of this horrible crime. Now, this is our firm and resolute position that organized labor would urgently embark on series of demonstrations and a nationwide strike if government fails to address concerns raised by end of September 2024. Now, we call on all well-meaning Ghanaians to join organized labor and your good self to ensure that this become a thing of the past. My brothers and sisters, this is a call which I believe we have joined quite belatedly, but it's not too late. And we believe strongly that with a very strong, coordinated effort, we shall achieve the objective.
You heard Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Federation of Labour, Kenneth Kumson. Now speaking during a media engagement, Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu-Jinapor said beyond the deployment of the security personnel, the president has also directed the decommissioning of illegal mining equipment if necessary.
So the various regional security councils have been tasked to conduct recognizance, scrutiny of their various jurisdictions, and begin to roll out SOOPs and enhance the enforcement regime, the details of which I think we all agree I should withhold for the time being. But in the days and weeks to come, we will see a heightened or ramped up enforcement where we've decided that it should use local resources. In other words, the resources at the disposal of the various RegSecs, because as you know, the RegSecs have police, they have military, they have this, they have that. And the regular law enforcement apparatus of the state, which is the Ghana Police Service, should be the first port of call. If the need arises, we will take it a step further to the armed forces. If the need arises, we will possibly begin once again the extraordinary measure of decommissioning equipment used for illegal small-scale mining. The Minerals Commission is also to double up its reformative measures.
The minister also described as draconian calls for a state of emergency to be declared.
Declare a state of emergency, that is within the bosom of the president, but I find that to be a far-reaching, really, a very draconian measure to take. And so we will engage them, and we will have this conversation. And I believe out of that, we may be able to come up with some consensus which we can work with.
You heard the Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abujinapo over there, but some CSOs are demanding his immediate resignation over the widespread depletion of Ghana's forest reserves and destruction of freshwater bodies, among other environmental damages. According to the coalition of civil society organizations in agriculture, aquaculture, and fisheries, the minister and his team have failed to effectively combat the Galamsey menace. Anthony Salom Kofito Morrison is the CEO for Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, and he joins us on phone for a conversation. Good evening, Anthony. Thank you for joining us. Why are you demanding the dismissal of the lands minister? He's made an effort. He has put some measures in place. Why do you still want his resignation?
Well, thank you very much, and a very good evening to your cherished listeners. If you realize the signatories who have undersigned the press statement, we're talking about almost 20 national agriculture organizations in the country. Now, the reason why we are calling for the resignation of the forest resources minister is simple. Under his tenure, we've seen the worst depletion of our forest reserves. We've witnessed the worst destruction of our water bodies. And as farmers, we dwell so much on our land, and we dwell so much also on the fresh water. Recently, when we had a dry spell, we were all complaining, and government wanted to put 8 billion cedis into the sector. What we are saying is simple. Among the resources he's been given, he has still failed to deliver. And we don't see him as the man capable of delivering to be able to take us from the current situation we find ourselves. And we want to be very emphatic on this. It is going forward that we demand the minister to step down so the president can put in a more nationalistic committee of eminent citizens, because this goes beyond the minister. Despite the powers given to the minister to deliver on his mandate, we have realized that the sector is bigger than him. He is not able to control the sector and bring the issues under control.
Anthony, you've mentioned this is beyond the minister, so why are you calling for his head when we've had reports of farmers also selling their farmlands to these miners to be used in this illegal mining?
No farmer, let me put it on record, no farmer is selling their land on their free will. They are actually doing so under duress. And the miners threaten their livelihood and their very living conditions. So we must get this clear. If we can get a minister who is capable of stamping his authority and making sure that he delivers on the mandate and the will of the citizens of Ghana, our very essence and livelihood as people is being threatened. And to put it simple as it is, our very survival in this country will come to a halt if we can't afford our fish, we can't afford the fresh water, and we can also feed this country as we are doing.
Anthony, you recollect that the president put his presidency on the line. So why don't you call for perhaps an impeachment of the president instead?
We want to give the president the benefit of the doubt and take it heads on with the minister. The minister is the one directly in charge. Let's engage the minister. The minister look at the parameters under which he has worked, look at the destruction of the lands that we have witnessed under his tenure, look at the size of water bodies and the number of water fresh bodies that has gone under destruction under his tenure, where he has provided a lot of resources. We need to take the head on first time, and that is the minister we're talking about.
Anthony, would you say the minister has a direct hand in this?
We are not saying the minister have a direct hand in this. He is the one in charge of the sector. He is the one close with the powers to manage the sector such that the next generation of our children, the next generations of the citizens of this country will come and enjoy these resources. And it is under his tenure, under his watch, we are experiencing the most deplorable water bodies ever witnessed in the history of Ghana. And you see, if you look at the cocoa, we are already downgraded our expected production. If you look at the importation of fish, we have increased our feed importation rates. We are also increasing our food importation. If you look at the recent statistics from the government statistician, you see clearly that the cost of importation, okay, the price of imported goods are cheaper compared to the price of locally produced goods. That tells you that we are unable to produce, and if we produce, it is expensive. And a time will come, we will produce, but will not be able to consume. And that is where we are heading to.
But taking
the data are, look, the Sustainable Development Goals, Goal 6, Goals 13, 14, and 15 have stated clearly. And you see, what we are doing, we are working so closely to the international corridors where we are likely to receive some ban and caution, okay? And you have already seen it that the UNOWAS has even issued a statement to that effect. So I think that as a country, we need to be very pragmatic, take the head and move on, get eminent citizens to address this challenge. That is all we're talking about.
Okay, Anthony, so aside from getting the minister off, there have been some solutions proffered by the government on it. Are they enough?
We don't think they are enough. The mess has been caused. The most important thing is stop illegal mining and stop all activities of small-scale mining and reclaim the land, revitalize and clean the water, and let's start afresh. That is where we need to start heading to. Our farmers are crying, okay? We have a farmer population of about 9 million, and we have more than 40 million citizens in Ghana directly and indirectly involved in agriculture. And when you take that number and you are going on destroying over 1.2 million hectares of land, please, we are not joking here. We are talking about serious issues, and the consequences will be dire on us.
You've also called for a state of emergency, which the minister says is draconian. What are your reactions to that?
You see, so it gives you the estimation of the minister, his understanding of the current situation. He has failed to appreciate the normal situation in which we find ourselves. He has money. He knows he can purchase food with all the money that he's got. What about those who are struggling, who are having challenges as a result of that? They can't get good drinking water. They can't get good food. Look, recently, did you see the videos on social media? Some of the places that we visited, I'm currently here in the north. And some of the places we visited and we've witnessed, it's so deplorable that we Ghanaians are seeing this happen in the very face of our existence. And this is not what we should be toiling around as people. We should be very serious. This shows that the minister is not serious. He doesn't appreciate the deplorable situation we find ourselves. And that is the reason he should be sacked or he should resign immediately.
All right, thank you very much, Anthony Morrison. We've been speaking to Anthony Selom Kofi Morrison, who is the CEO for the Agribusiness Chamber of Ghana. You're still listening to Star Today on Star 103.5 FM. To some other news, the largest opposition, National Democratic Congress, is demanding the immediate dismissal and prosecution of the chief executive of the National Youth Authority, Pius Enam-Hajide, following his recent admission of involvement in the 2018 Australia visa scandal and his statement indicating plans to engage in similar actions during the 2026 World Cup in the United States. But it's campaign season, and as usual, the air is thick with promises. From the practical and tangible to the gimmicky and extravagant, the spectrum is wide. And then there are the head scratchers, the promises that leaves you wondering if they make sense at all. Enter Pius Enam-Hajide, the embattled former deputy sports minister. His latest promise, free exits for senior high school students in his constituency. Star News' Elikplim Awuku has more in this desk report.
In the world of elections, promises are often the currency of choice. Campaigns buzz with assurances. some grand, others modest, and occasionally those that seem to stretch the limits of reality. Take, for instance, the recent pledge by embattled former Deputy Sports Minister Pius Enam Hajide, who is vying for the Esojaman seat in the Eastern region. Hajide has vowed to make travel to the United States for the 2026 FIFA World Cup a breeze for his constituents, should he be elected. This promise is not without its complications. Hajide's track record as a travel agent might raise eyebrows. See, back in 2017, he was embroiled in the Australian visa scandal, where individuals allegedly posed as journalists to secure visas for the Commonwealth Games.
Ghana, now Uko Australia, Ubetina Elupremu, 18 hours.
Though he faced suspension during the investigation, he was later reinstated by President Nana Akufo-Addo.
I received the police report on the Australia visa scandal, which has exonerated the suspended Deputy Minister for Youth and Sports from any complicity in the visa fraud.
In a subsequent interview with Nana Banamwa on GH1 TV's State of Affairs, the former Deputy Information Minister asserted his innocence, claiming he was never involved in the scandal.
She said I led a team of journalists. I didn't lead any team of journalists. I was investigated by the police CID. I was not investigated by a committee in which the president can, through a white paper, reject, accept, or modify, and therefore release the report. When the police conduct criminal investigations about somebody, the police proceed to court if there is evidence, normally.
Now, as the 2024 election looms, Hajide has once again stirred the pot, not only with promises of facilitating trips to the US for the World Cup, but also by pledging to facilitate exits for students in the area should they require them.
House as much as this is mine. When you have the time and you have an exit, or you have the opportunity to go out, and you have lots of good friends in your school. So exit should not be an issue.
In an exclusive on Star FM, Hajide defended his promises, arguing that as a leader, it's his role to open such doors for his constituents.
What is wrong with a member of parliament assisting his or her constituents who are capable and willing and are interested in traveling to travel? What's probably wrong with it?
While his critics remain skeptical, the crucial question remains. What do the people of Esojaman think of these promises?
Chance Sakano said our man and Ujano yeah, Esojaman Baha 14 years in Obia Meditro and Yakuyano.
Nano Creum say, on no be our kind of as we Jaman City, no, say one fan of credit and do anymore, bro, unyada.
And perhaps most provocatively, does this move reflect on President Akufo-Addo's self-proclaimed anti-corruption stance?
I will not abandon under any circumstance recourse to due process in the fight against corruption. Be that as it may, in any event, I will leave it to the Ghanaian public and people to decide whether it is preferable to be a clearing agent or government official one.
Ghanaians will have their say on 7th December.
Before Ghanaians have their say on 7th December, the NDC is already commenting on that matter, and they insist they will make sure Hajide is prosecuted if they win the upcoming December polls. And this is a report by Eastern Regional Correspondent Kojo Ansa, read by Benjamin Saki.
At a press conference held on Thursday, September 12 in Akosombo, the NDC's Deputy National Communications Officer, Malik Basintali, demanded Hajide's immediate removal from office and his prosecution. He further questioned President Akufo-Addo's refusal to release the investigation report on the 2018 scandal, accusing the president of shielding Hajide by clearing him of wrongdoing. Basintali assured that the next NDC government will prosecute Pius Hajide.
We know that this declaration may be a mission impossible because Pius Hajide is not just learning from himself, he's learning from his boss, the chief mother serpent of corruption, Mr. Akufo-Addo, and his deputy, the chief liar, Bawulaya, aka Fortunia, for the immediate dismissal of Pius Hajide as the CEO for the National Youth Authority.
Still on the matter, political marketer Professor Kobi Mensah has called out parliamentary candidate Pius Hajide on his bizarre promises. Professor Mensah believes Hajide has taken electorates for granted and acts that the academic says will come back to haunt him.
What Pius has displayed is a function of what we're getting in terms of our democratic processes. A lot more people think that once you have the money, you can secure the PC slot, that's the parliamentary candidate slot of the political party. And you could actually say anything that really would excite the voter and to vote for them to go into parliament. Now, there is nothing like orientating yourself towards your political ideological positions. There is nothing like values. People don't place values in politics. People think that politics is about just say anything, and that's the result that we're getting. Completely unnecessary, completely irresponsible political messaging, wanting to win so you can say anything. But I think that our political parties must take the politics much more seriously. They must take things like orientating their members seriously towards the ideological positions, towards values of society, towards the real needs of the society. You cannot actually call it a policy. Well, it would definitely have dire consequences on him because if you listen to some of the footages put forward by some of the media houses, I think your aspect, regarding what people in that constituency think of him, majority have actually described him as irresponsible. They've described his promises as deceit. They don't believe in it. And so certainly it would have an implication, it would have an effect on his personality, how people perceive him. But certainly I'm not sure he would win the election because when people have seen that it's a deceit, it's a blatant lie, and then of course not to talk about the legality of it, that it's illegal, I don't see any reasonable voter going to vote for him. And it would have a dire consequences for his political future. Obviously this has been documented. In future, people are going to play it to him, just like they've been playing it to him in the Australian scandal.
Still on election-related stories, leader of the Ghana Freedom Party, Akua Donkor, flag bearer of the People's National Party, Janet Nabla, and CPP's Nana Frimpong Sapon Kumakuma have all successfully submitted their nomination forms to contest the upcoming December 7th presidential elections. My colleague Obed King Gaglo monitored the exercise and he joins us on phone for more on this. Obed, thank you for joining Star today. These three women came in to submit their forms. How's the buzz around them?
Right. So, Echo, just as you rightly said, it has been an all-women presidential candidate affair as the women you mentioned came to the Electoral Commission headquarters to file their nomination. First to do so was Madame Akua Donkor of the Ghana Freedom Party, who, after submitting her forms, thanked the Electoral Commission for giving her the opportunity to also file to contest the presidential election. After her was the leader and founder and also flag bearer of the People's National Party, Janet Nabla, who also filed a nomination. For her, she commended the Electoral Commission for granting 25% discount for female candidates for both presidential and parliamentary aspirants or candidates. She, however, had some concerns in that she believes that for the Electoral Commission to give manual documents to candidates to tour all districts in the country for endorsement was extremely tiring, and she believed that it could be be an electronic process to reduce the stress for candidates. And then the last to file this evening was the flag bearer of the Convention People's Party, Nana Akosua-Sarpong Kumankumah. She took the opportunity to tell Ghanaians to give her the opportunity to lead the country as Kwame Nkrumah did, and believe that the ideals of socialism should be given another opportunity. And so these are the people who filed nomination today. Bernard Mona was expected to file nomination, but we got to know that there were some errors on his form, and so was unable to file his form. And so it has been an all-women presidential candidate affair here at the Electoral Commission.
Well, Obed, what was the EC boss saying?
Echo, please come again.
I was asking, it's an all-ladies affair today, so what did the EC boss, who happens to be a lady as well, say to them?
Yes, so the Electoral Commission chairperson was extremely excited that the women showed up today to file themselves. You know, some candidates do not come themselves, and so he commended them for filing, and also asked the media to project the commendation by Janet Nabila that the Electoral Commission in history has granted a 25% discount for all female aspirants to be able to file their nomination, and this is for both presidential and parliamentary.
Obed, tomorrow is the final day of filing. What are we to expect?
So on the list of candidates we were giving for us who are here at the Electoral Commission covering the submission of the forms, there's a tall list, and in total there's supposed to be 33 candidates who are supposed to file their nomination. So far, we are counting almost 14 candidates who have not yet filed their nomination, and so we are expecting that these 14 candidates will turn up here tomorrow, which is the last day for filing to file their nomination. So it's going to be a long day tomorrow here at the Electoral Commission headquarters.
Obed, finally, the whole country has been waiting with bated breath for the EC's engagement with the media on the voters register. We were given 4 p.m. What have you heard?
So, Echo, just as you rightly said, we've been here since morning waiting with bated breath for the Electoral Commission to address the media and the nation on the update they have regarding the voters register and the call by the National Democratic Congress for a forensic audit. As it stands now, we are still here waiting on the Electoral Commission to address the media, but we are told to wait a little while. The media have set up, it's going to be a live broadcast by the Electoral Commission on their website, but the commissioners themselves are not in the conference room. We are told they're having a short meeting and they will be right back to address the media. And so we are still waiting here.
Thank you very much, Obed. That was Obed King Gaglu, who is my colleague from the political desk in the Komladuma newsroom. Still on election-related matters, the NPP Women's Wing in the Agona West constituency in the Central Region have warned Cynthia Morrison not to use NPP colors or NPP achievements in her campaign in the upcoming 2024 elections, since she says she's no longer an NPP member. The order of prohibition comes after the former Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection and NPP MP for Agona West filed her nomination forms to contest as an independent candidate in the upcoming election.
NPP Women's Wing in the Agona West constituency have threatened to sue Cynthia Morrison or summon her before the traditional authorities if she uses NPP colours or touts NPP achievements in her campaign. The angry NPP Women's Wing went through the principal streets of Agona Swedru with the aim of sweeping Cynthia Morrison from the party in the constituency. Spokesperson for the Agona NPP Women's Wing, Mary Dodu, called on Cynthia Morrison not to disgrace the NPP party because she has benefited from the party.
Yes, Renala, Mongo NPP Unfi, free education, Abuayan, Intibongo Unfi, or from him, so we're not content crowd, waff and papers, walk or file in the papers, waff and the forms, waff fill, walk or send it, waff file in the papers, yep, and it show, Yapanicho, Biomianko Tojogu from Bamba, or Gommbamba, Yapanicho, all use in Ankasani colors. More use MPP colors. All use in Alani colors. So Nicolasa, Unqua Habema, Obena colors in the baby. Mwe bia wo kala aban bia woni kala okwakwato obetum wakwato bi na mo bisi ye hu se or use MPP colors.
Members of the women's wing declared that they will do everything possible to ensure Chris Arthur wins in the constituency.
Na Christian to Tanasi. All one country, all Shaman, all you are Chris, why say Chris, why say your party, the party, tell me, would have a power and MPP Atana. Matama, until all young Pack,
You're still listening to Star Today here on Star 103.5 FM. My name is Akol Bwache. We'll be right back.
Star Today. First, fast, and credible.
Away from politics, Old Students Association of the O'Reilly Senior High School are urging government to take immediate and decisive action to address the growing security threats in Okpogono and its environs. You recall an 18-year-old final year student was stabbed by his colleague at the school on Tuesday, September 3, over an argument. But speaking to Star News, Vice President of the Old Students Association, Letitia Adega, urged security agencies to intensify efforts to apprehend perpetrators and bring them to justice.
The O'Reilly Old Students Association, OROSA, would like to express our deepest condolences to the families and friends of the deceased. We are here today to call on government to help solve the urgent needs of the school, which includes security issues. We request for additional security personnel and fence wall to be raised up a bit for us. Security situation. We've had a security man at the entrance, but then for some time now we've noticed that he's not been too healthy. We've reported and requested that maybe he should be changed or an additional one added to it. But we've had no response to that effect. After the incident that happened last week when we lost a final year student through stabbing.
One security man that is manning 2 gates, and he has a health challenge. So he cannot do that. Oh, security, if you are the minimum 2, maximum as much as they can give us to the school. It's a big yard. So the more security we have, the better. Apart from that, we have a lot of encroachers in the facility, going in and out. One security man cannot man the whole facility. Hence our request for more security to be put on school. We have people scaling the wall to go into the school compound. People driving in. You can see a truck driving in to take blocks inside. We are not constructing anything in the school. Increase the size of the wall. Give us more security to police around the school. Not just anybody walking in and out of the school. Who can you control? You cannot control anyone.
Well, that was from O'Reilly Senior High School there, where the old students are demanding improved security in the school's environs. Now, away from that, members of the National Food Suppliers Association are demanding an immediate payment of the outstanding arrears. This comes after some members massed up at the premises of the National Food Buffer Stock Company today over government's failure to settle the over 3 years arrears owed its members. After waiting for over 2 hours, officials of Buffer Stock met the aggrieved members in the absence of Chief Executive Abdul Wahab. Spokesperson of the National Food Suppliers Association, Kweku Amedume, has been speaking to Star News.
They've given some positive feedback. It has to do with some areas that were paid. In some cases were paid 50%, in some cases were paid 30%. And so that's what we've been trying to take for some time. I think 3 years that we're trying to recruit from Buffer
You wanted to see the CEO himself, he wasn't available.
Yes, we wanted to see the CEO himself, he was available, but he drove out with the excuse that he wanted to, he was going for the meeting. We are not convinced, but let's see tomorrow what happens.
And in case you do not hear from them? What will be your next action?
Let's see what happens tomorrow.
Well, we apologize for that poor quality in sound, but we will try to get Kweku Amedume and give you what exactly he was saying in that audio. Now, away from that, cocoa farmers in the Etiwa East District of the Eastern Region have expressed concern that the recent 45% increase in the producer price of cocoa announced by governments may not significantly improve their livelihoods due to soaring production costs. The farmers lamented the steep prices of essential inputs for cocoa production and highlighted the poor road conditions in the district, which have led to higher transportation costs, further eroding their already slim profit margins.
Government has announced the price hike for the 2024-2025 cocoa crop season, which is aimed at curbing smuggling and improving the welfare of cocoa farmers. However, farmers in Etiwa East argue that rising cost of farm inputs, labor and transportation will diminish the benefits of the price increase.
Cocoa no afina so na se onya bibi film no hwe ni wa onya film esan say yentimi maintain cocoa no ye ena nsuo na meka no nsuo na da fu no ma se ye de nsuo no ye adwuma no eno nso no na amanfo asai no okoka ho asema enka nti ye besere se efa cocoa no de ya de eno an kita oman no nti anka oban no de ahoɔden kakra ehyemu eboa ya anka youth no a wo mo abo apie so ataso wo kromu a sabio ebi nya adwuma nya ni ade no wo mo so beba ekura aba beboa
me ma fom kra no me 90 by 2.5 miles ansa na madruma fom na nso je se me to nsuo efri krono mu sa de fok ayi de abobo ya akra so ntimi nko ntimia me soa kakra sa na me de akoduru fom ansa na matimi de akwakoye adwuma ewa fom ho no mo enti no kwasem ne koko sempa de no krani se mo betumi aye de esre mo moden ase mo be boan sanse aban no obo aye no kwasem ne niema bebre mu no amoa yen
Ghana fo nyina se ye jai koko ya Ghana agu enti se de o mani ko teacher fo timi ka so mo ko strike okuani so ko strike kwan na ko strike na kire no ye ni obia enu nti ye hu se o ma fa ye fala ye ni bibia ye nti akuafo de ye mobo fiti ye nwuma ye nyina mu makopenti roba yitimi to ne 10 cedi kura tofo kura eni ho o po obi chew oba be free obekwa ba se me kura kwa ye meka ontua na se ni nyina no ye ka hu nti akuafo de ye mobo wo bibia mu.
In recent years, Ghana's cocoa sector has faced multiple challenges, including adverse weather conditions, diseases, illegal mining activities, inadequate farm inputs, and smuggling.
So that was the cocoa farmers, but I'll take you back to the earlier story where we're trying to understand Kweku Amedume, who is spokesperson for the National Food Suppliers Association. He's actually joined me on phone now. Good evening, Kweku, and welcome to Start Today. For 3 years now, payments have not been made to these people. Are you worried?
Yes, I'm very worried, very much so, given the fact that these monies that they're making claims over are monies that have been disbursed into the coffers of Buffer Stock 3 years ago. And in fact, those times, some payment were, some items, for instance, milk was sold to the Buffer Stock, so they delivered at the price of 117. Buffer paid 50 cedis, 57 cedis on almost half of the price to them. Over 3 years, they're trying to claim their money. Things have not been yielding positive. Thankfully, today some promise have been given that will be called tomorrow to be informed as to when the woman can come for the money. But these are really, really unfortunate situations. Look at over 3 years ago, how much was the cost of those items that were procured? And there had not been a demonstration of good faith with the people. These are aged women. These are women who have lived on this business over the years. And so if you frustrate their businesses in such a manner, it's just killing them indirectly.
But Kweku, within this 3 year span, were there any communications between
there have been several communications. We have had meetings upon meetings over this money. My brother,
you cannot say somebody should deliver goods at the price of 100 cedis. Then you give 50%. You decide to give 50% after you had gone to use the same invoices of your customer to procure the money from government coffers. So why would you take it such a long time to settle the people? This is a deliberate attempt to frustrate this businesswoman, and I think it's good. I don't know how you got the information. I might say, I would like to say, I will commend your radio station for your eagle eye over our issue. I think we will need to give it a better space for us to make a claim for this woman. These women are going through a lot, and as I speak with you, there are some who are in court over the items that they supplied to Bafastop. They took granules, some took milk on credit. They supplied, and they were given only half of the money. And over 3 years, they've been trying to get this money. It's not getting the money. Is not coming back, and leadership has not demonstrated good faith towards this old man.
From the Bafastop company's point of view, have they ever initiated a conversation with you on the way forward prior to
No,
this?
We have always been the one trying to initiate a conversation, and even in that attempt coming from us to initiate, that attempt is not yielding positive. We always on the calling side, we are always on the visiting side, and see when you drive all the way from Sunyani, or you take Trotro all the way from Sunyani just to come and see and talk to officials of public institutions, and you don't get to get them, and you would have to drive back again. And it's not as if you're asking for work to be done. It's not as if you're asking for favors. You're asking to be paid for work that you have done for government. And that work has already been paid for. That particular claim we are making has been paid by government. They have used our invoices to secure those money from government. So where's the money?
All right, Kweku.
This contempt and disrespect to the people.
Kweku, thank you for speaking with us. We've been speaking to Kweku Amedume, who is spokesperson for the Food Suppliers Association. It's time to do sports. Benjamin Yamwa is seated in the studio. Ben, what's popping in sports?
Well, Onia, thank you very much. And in sports tonight, the ranking member of a Parliament Select Committee on Youth and Sports, Komla Mensah Oyum, has expressed his disappointment in the current state in which Ghana finds itself after CAF's decision to withdraw approval for the use of Obayara Stadium for Black Stars matches. The Member of Parliament indicated that the Select Committee will launch an inquiry into the operations of the NSA on the back of its field mandate in the maintenance of the Obayara Stadium and other facilities we have in Ghana for sports.
So already we had taken certain steps to meet as a committee somewhere 23rd of September to look at other matters that Mr. Speaker had referred to the committee. Okay. And so that is in the pipeline. And so with this that has happened, we will also look that in, and we'll want to know two things. One, those who had been given the job to undertake some renovation work and all that, and probably delve more into what actually was done, the scope of work that was given them, and the money paid in that sense for the renovations and all that. We want to go into it because I thought that with the intentions, or with that, if it was done properly, we shouldn't find ourselves in this situation. And then two, see whether within the shortest possible time, we can get a rescue event, a venue that can rescue the situation. And I just heard that they want to look at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium, as well as Henijan. I just pray that we are able to meet the standard. Otherwise, we should bow our heads in shame, and particularly the NSA, the ministry, and everybody who had a role to play in this matter, because we shouldn't sink that low. It's so sad that, in the history of this country, we are confronted with this situation. We could be avoided if we hadn't played politics with some of the things that had gone on. Especially, I don't know, the award of contract to go and renovate these facilities. We'll be very much as a committee interested in how and who took what and the scope of work and why we are confronted with this situation.
And that is the Member of Parliament, Komla Mensah Woyome. Let's go on to some other stories. And Business Development Manager for FC Samatex 96, Paul Anyaba, says he's optimistic the team will make it on Sunday against Raja Casablanca of Morocco in the CAF Champions League encounter. Speaking on the game with myself and, of course, Monica Bukari on GH1 and Star FM, Paul Anyaba revealed that the team is well positioned to establish a strong reputation in the game on Sunday against Raja.
We have 2 games to determine whether or not we will continue in this competition or not. That is the 90 minutes in Accra come this Sunday, and then the 90 minutes in Raja, their home in Morocco, next 2 weeks. So what it means is that we need to make maximum use of our 90 minutes in Ghana, and that is exactly what we are doing. We are very much positive when it comes to intrinsic motivation. The boys are poised up to do something, make a name for themselves. We know that Raja for some time now has been a thorn in the flesh of Ghanaian clubs. So they know that they are up to make history. If they are able to eliminate Raja, they will write their names in the golden books of Ghana football. So that alone serves as motivation for them. And when it comes to the extrinsic motivation, they don't have problem.
Paul Anyaba is with Samatex 96 FC, and that's it for sports.
Thank you, Benghazi, for giving us the latest in sports.
Star Today, burst, fast, and credible.
This is your Simply the Best station, Star 103.5 FM, and EIB remains your 2024 election hub. Well, it's now time to take you on the campaign trail. Well, it's some few minutes to 6 p.m. Only 87 days to election 2024. Welcome to your election hub. In about 24 hours, the Electoral Commission's deadline for submitting nomination for both the presidential and parliamentary election comes to an end. Thankfully, or perhaps hopefully, my guest for tonight on the campaign trail has met his deadline in submitting his forms to enter Parliament. Come January 7, 2025. Now, let me give you some interesting facts about the area he wants to represent according to the Ghana Statistical Service. Now, out of 261 districts, this district ranks first in literacy rate. Of course, what do you expect when the premier university of the country is in that constituency? Sharply contrasting is first in lowest rates of child marriage, highest urbanized area in the country of 100%, among others. Well, if you know or live in Jowulu, Abelemkwe, Roman Ridge, East Legon, Airport Residential Area, Bawaleshi, I'm talking about your neighborhood, the Ayawaso West Wogon. Well, the constituency is the Ayawaso West Wogon, currently held by the NPP, and it has been so since the year 2002. And the NDC, despite its impressive run in the 2020 election, lost narrowly, but now confident more than ever of its chances this year. Well, my esteemed audience listening to us on Star 103.5 FM or on Facebook, I have a man in the studio who has vowed to end the NPP NDC dominance in Ayawaso West Wogon. He's my guest on Campaign Trail this evening, and he's independent parliamentary aspirant Abdul Rauf Mumuni Abugui. Welcome to Campaign Trail, Abdul Rauf.
Thank you, my brother.
It's great having you over here.
All right, I appreciate it.
Okay. Now, first off, let me zoom in. We have John Dumelo. We have Lydia Seram Al-Hassan. These are powerhouses. Do you by any chance feel threatened?
No, actually, I don't feel threatened. I believe that politics is not won by numbers. It's not won by, how do you call it, money or fame. These are the two things that we should consider so far as politics is involved. And mostly, a lot of people always ask me this question based on the fact that they believe maybe John Dumelo is very famous, and then Lydia is rich when it comes to that matter so far as his husband is concerned. So when it comes to politics this time around, we look at the numbers, and when we look at the numbers, it is at the polling station that we can actually say that these are the numbers. It is the polling station that is going to constitute the numbers that we are looking at. Actually, you could have the masses following you, giving you funds and the support that you need. But during the election day, the vote might not turn out on your behalf. So when it comes to Dumelo and Lydia, I don't think they are something I could say they are giving me headache. I am rather giving them the nightmare.
But you agree that fame and wealth have parts to play?
Fame and wealth has parts to play. But I could possibly tell you that when we talk about fame, Dumelo would have been able to win that seat because Dumelo is more famous than Lydia. And when we want to consider fame within the country, I know of a few people who are more wealthy and they are also into politics, but they've never had the chance to win power. I could use somebody as an example. Let me feel free to mention that. Hassan Ayarga is very wealthy. He's been in politics since 2012. As of now, we don't even see something like 1%. But we have other people like Gum who just showed up during the 2020 election. We can't count off his asset and anything throughout the country. He was able to get percentage that led him to the third position within the country.
So you talk about wealth playing a part. What do you think about vote buying in our current dispensation?
Well, vote buying is something that happens during every election within the country. And it has been the norm since 1992. And there are agencies that are supposed to play a critical role in resolving some of these things. The National Peace Council is part, Electoral Commission, and the NCC. They are supposed to play the role in educating the people that vote buying is not something that they should agree to. Don't let somebody just walk to you and then give you money because maybe you need it, you urgently need it for something else, or maybe you think that when they win power and then they go to parliament, they won't come back and do something for you. Well, this is what the political parties are trying to play our minds with. They feel like during every campaign season or before election, the only thing that could help them is that they have to give people huge sums of money before they'll be able to vote for them because they feel like they've not done anything to encourage the people. Ghana, we've moved past that level. And I believe when you said that Ayawaso West Wogon ranks the most literate people within the country, I could possibly tell you that Ayawaso West Wogon is the most developed constituency throughout the whole country, and we have the elites there. So this is not a constituency that you could just wake up one day and walk to somebody and give the person maybe 500 cedis. Even when you offer the person 1 million, you can't use that as an incentive to maybe buy the mind of the person.
But there's a very high student population over there.
The student population is very high. And I could tell you that most of the people who vote there, we are having about 70% of them who are youth. That is why a young guy below the age of 30 years, like me, Abdurrauf Mumuni Abugri, I am contesting. Because these are people who feel like I am within their territory, I fall within their age range. And they feel like this is the time that we have to reset our mind, change by giving the power to a youth who falls within their category.
So you say you're contesting.
Yes.
Have you filed your nomination yet?
I filed my nomination just this afternoon around 3 p.m. just at the Electoral Commission Old Office, just here. I did that today.
And you paid the amount?
I paid the amount, the exact amount.
What do you think about the rate?
Well, the rate of the filing fee, I think is okay. To me, it's okay. But then there is one thing that's almost, I could say that it affected me in a way. That has to do with the tax clearance certificate. This time around, I don't know what is actually wrong, or I don't know what has actually gone wrong. I actually went to one GRA office and then I requested for my tax clearance certificate. And you know, so far as you are filing for nomination to contest as a member of parliament, when you are requesting for your tax clearance certificate, it has nothing to do with your business. Your business is not involved. You are filing with your personality, not your business. So if you are filing with your personality, then you are requesting for that. And they are asking you to pay an amount of 60,000 Ghana cedi or 50,000 Ghana cedis for the last 3 years. Assuming you've not paid any tax for the last 3 years, that is the amount that you're supposed to pay. They are asking for that amount. It's very huge. And that is a challenge that I face alongside in filing my nomination. The amount they charged me was in between 30,000 to 50,000. That is very huge. What at all have I done? Because look, when I try reviewing the taxes, I could see airport levy, e-levy, betting levy, and all those kind of things within the tax that I paid for my tax clearance certificate before I got my tax clearance certificate.
Did you know that before you went to the GRA offices?
I didn't know anything like that. I just walked in as everybody does, and then I requested for a tax clearance certificate. They took my Ghana card, kept it on their system, and then they came back to tell me that
moving forward, what would you want to do about it?
Well, I would say that I asked most of my colleagues who are also contestant. Some of them even mentioned a higher amount than that. Some of them also mentioned a lower amount that is even less than 5,000 Ghana cedis. By then, I had already paid my amount. So,
but what accounts for the contrast in the costs?
Well, I don't know what actually accounts for that. But then, I think this is an opportunity for them to profit from some of us, because I don't know what actually I have done to pay this amount of money as tax before I'll be able to contest as a member of parliament.
Finally, you have turned in everything. Your nomination has been filed and it has been accepted. So now you're confirmed as a candidate in the 2024 election pending Electoral Commission's investigations. What are your policies for Ayawaso West Wuogon?
Well, last 2 weeks I released the 10 policies in breaking the duopoly of MPP and NDC within the Ayawaso West Wuogon. And I could possibly tell you that I'm the first person within the constituency to organize a press conference just to share my policies with the people. Both NDC and MPP, they've been based on their political party manifestos for the whole country. And when we are doing that, you are not taking the interest of the people at first. You are taking the interest of your political party at first. Doing away with that, let me share with you the 10 policies. First of all, I talk about transparent governance. And with the transparent governance, it should be in a way that when you are elected into power, you should be able to account for your people. Let the people feel free in walking to your office and ask you for any information or request for any information, and you'll be able to provide for them.
Doesn't it exist already?
It exists within the country. My brother, in most constituencies, you can't just, even the MP self is not even staying in the constituency. Within a whole year, the MP might even visit the constituency like twice or even 2 times. It is only when it gets closer to the election time that you see most of them around, organizing rallies, going around, and then the people get to know that these are the people that who want to contest as a member of parliament within the constituency.
What's your second?
The second one has to do with the proper database system. And I believe that Ayawaso West Wuogon, being the most developed constituency within the country, we should have a proper database system. And the proper database system should be able to capture everybody's details right away from birth. Unlike the Ghana card that captures people's details from the age of 15 upwards there. So with the proper database system, if we are able to capture your details right away from birth, it captures everything. When you start schooling, it's going to capture that. When you start working, it's going to capture that. Every single amount that you're earning is going to capture that. Assuming you are working here, and then within the database system, we know that this is the amount of, let me use an amount, for instance. You take 10,000 Ghana cedi as a basic salary, and there are other part-times that you also do. And then we are also able to capture that this is the amount of money that, so annually we know that there is an annual, as you are going to make some expenditures from that money. But we are going to categorize like, okay, you are taking 10,000 Ghana cedi. So annually we should be projecting at 120,000 Ghana cedi. So annually, if you review your account and your money is more than that amount, that means that you have some questions to answer. That is a way we'll be able to detect corruption within the constituency. And also, this proper database system will also help us cure the rate of unemployment. We are going to have a data resource center within the constituency. And the data resource center, if you're a company like Star FM or GH1 and you're looking for employees, you don't go around posting on Facebook or posting on walls that you are looking.
Aren't these steps that you have outlined right now in connection to the database sort of nationalistic than constituency based?
Yes, it's a sort of nationalistic, but then in the situation that none of these political parties that we have has been able to chip in to to implement it within the country. I believe that limiting it to my constituency will be the best, because within Ayawaso West Western constituency, we record the high rate of unemployment within the youth, because most of them are university graduates. Most of them, when they graduate from universities, companies will be there asking for 2 years, 3 years working experience. And then if no company is willing to, employ somebody to start as at fresh, who will be willing to employ somebody, everybody's willing to employ somebody who is having 2-3 years experience. So if he or she doesn't pick up from somewhere, who is willing to do that?
So let's run through the other 7,
yes.
The other AIDS policies.
The other one too that I talk about is urban farming system. Within the Ayawaso West Ogon, being the most developed constituency in Ghana, people factor it as more residential area than to use it for industrial activities, maybe agricultural activities. So I believe that when I'm elected in power and I introduce that policy, it's really going to help, because we can't be living within the constituency, and anytime that we need, food stuff, we have to buy them from the northern region. And this really causes what we call food genocide, because if you want to be buying some of these food from, let's take it from the northern region and co, before they will get to Kumasi, they might have spoiled. So before they will even, export them from maybe the northern region to the greater Accra before it gets to my constituency, they might have to maybe infiltrate some chemicals and some other things just to protect it before it gets to the constituency. So with this urban farming system, I have rolled it out in the way that if you have a land that has a minimum size of 70 by 100, and then you want to use it for farming, anybody who allows his land to be used for farming, you're going to do the farming yourself, and you'll be paid an amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis every month as a farmer within the constituency. And when we roll out this, people might think that a 70 by 100 land is a small piece of land that if you use it for farming, you're not going to actually have any good yield of it, or you're not going to make anything out of that.
Abdul-Rauf,
yes.
Let me catch you over there.
Right.
We have Samuel Tete, the Deputy Commissioner in charge of operations at the Electoral Commission, responding to some concerns about the voters register. It has been a topic which we've been waiting for the whole day. So we'll cross over to the EC.
That is the essence of the exhibition exercise. It is to correct discrepancies. This is what is being done, as has been the case in the past. It is not new. Then, the Commission is of the view that the forensic audit is not what is needed at this time. It is premature. 11. The Commission wishes to inform the general public that the voters' exhibition exercise in itself is an audit. The exhibition offers an avenue for the auditing of the register. It unearths discrepancies and allows for prescribed legal processes to correct the discrepancies. Perhaps this is the first time the NDC has taken interest in the register. Otherwise, one would have expected them to call for such an audit of the 2016 register, which contained photos of plants and animals representing voters. It is important to note that, contrary to what is being alluded, since 1992, the voters' register has never been audited. 12. The exhibition exercise enables citizens to verify their details and allows for the unearthing of discrepancies in the register. Additionally, it provides for the correction of discrepancies in the register. This is not new. This has been the practice since 1992. The process of cleaning and strengthening the voters' register is well defined by law. We have also noted comments by the NDC to the effect that the very doctor that created the problem should not be the doctor that will resolve the problem. The EC must agree for an independent body to audit them. The EC holds a contrary view to the position held by the NDC. We reiterate that it is the EC that is clothed with the responsibility and capacity to address discrepancies in the provisional voters register. The Commission has been doing this since 1992. It has the experience to do this and does not require any external organization to do its work. We reiterate that the law makes provision for the self-auditing of the voters register through the voters exhibition exercise. The exercise makes available the provisional copy of the register and allows citizens to verify their details and point out discrepancies with their details. Additionally, the same law allows for the correction of these discrepancies by the EC at all levels, from the field to the districts to the head office. This is the laid down, tried and tested process, and it works. What then is the purpose of the proposed forensic audit? The Commission is of the view that such an audit will add no value whatsoever to the well-defined, tried and tested process documented for the cleaning and strengthening of the provisional voters register. The question is, should the forensic audit be conducted? Who will fix the discrepancies in the register? The answer is, it is the same commission that will fix the discrepancies, and that is what we are doing. It is for this reason that the EC is of the view that the call for a forensic audit is misguided. The Commission believes that, as has been the case in the past, the exhibition exercise will continue to the strengthening of the voters register. We entreat the NDC to trust in the EC to correct discrepancies in the provisional voters register. This current leadership addressed this ahead of the 2020 elections. It is relying on the same process to correct any discrepancies in the register. The Commission would like to assure the general public and all stakeholders that all identified discrepancies with the provisional voters register are being corrected. To date, the register is almost near perfect, as most of the discrepancies have been fully resolved. We have also noted comments from the NDC alluding to ghost names in the register. We are aware that there may be dead persons on the register because several persons die each year. One of the key purposes of the exhibition exercise is to allow relatives of the dead to initiate the process of expunging their names from the register. The NDC indicated at the meeting that it had identified some 50,000 persons who were dead on the register. The Commission once again requested the details of the 50,000 dead persons and assured the NDC that it will work with the District Assembly and Birth and Death Registry to expunge the names from the register.
So we just had to cross over to the Electoral Commission to listen to the EC on issues concerning the voters register. And in summary, they say the voters exhibition offered an avenue for auditing NDC's concerns might be premature, but the register is almost near perfect and NDC's comments have been taken into consideration. Essentially, that's what we have from the Electoral Commission. But back in the studio, I'm here with Abdul Rauf Mumuni Abugri on the campaign trail. Rauf, welcome back. Now, let's go back to your policies outlined for the Ayawa, so West Wuogon. We talked about transparent governance, we talked about a database, and we've talked about urban farming. Yeah. What other ones do you have?
Yes, number 4, we have affordable housing and support for the less privileged. And number 5, we have free tertiary education from level 100 to level 400 for active voters within the constituency.
I would want to pick you on that one.
Sure.
Free tertiary education.
Yes.
How are you funding that?
All right. So when we talk about the education system, so far as the tertiary education system is concerned, let me pick this first. A presidential candidate launched a manifesto, and alongside launching the manifesto, Ghana was being compared to UK. And someone said that Ghana is actually better than UK. So in this comparison, I want to compare Ghana to US. I actually schooled in Miami University in Ohio, that is in the US. I want to compare Ghana to US in this case. In US, when a university is cited within, how do we call it, a community or within a municipal, what the community does with the school is that the community negotiates with the school. It is a must that the community has to negotiate at a percentage of 70% to 100% for the people living there to have that free tertiary education.
But in this jurisdiction,
so,
are you talking about universities in your constituency?
I'm talking about universities in my constituency.
Okay.
And for only people who vote within my constituency. These are the two key things.
But you are aware that there are arrangements for people who are natives of the should I say the Labadi area who are indigents of the land where, let's say, University of Ghana is situated, and they already have provisions, similar provisions going on. Do you believe after the university has already made those provisions, they are obliged to come into negotiation for other people living in the constituency when they are taking care of the indigents already?
What happens is that is my constituency. And then we have about, I think, 5 to 6 universities within that constituency. Let's take like tertiary institutions within that constituency. We have University of Ghana, UPSA, Accra College of Education, JIMPA, Natford University, and one other private university which I've forgotten the name. They are all within the
Seems the
constituency.
Islamic University.
Yeah, no, Islamic University doesn't fall. Islamic University
Okay.
falls under either a Denta or a Shaman. No, it falls under a Shaman because I think Trasaco. That's Trasaco. Trasaco
Okay.
falls under a Shaman. So this is what happens. That is my jurisdiction. And so far as
Is it Radford University?
Pardon?
Radford University,
Radford University.
or Wisconsin?
No, Wisconsin falls under
Domikwabinya.
Domikwabinya.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think it's Radford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be that one though. So what happens is that I am the member of parliament. If I am the member of parliament of that constituency, what I'm supposed to do is that I will negotiate with the university. So far as you are sitting on the land of that constituency, I will have to negotiate with you. And alongside the negotiations, this is how we're going to do it. Instead of negotiating for 70%, which is a must that you have to provide it for the people there, I will negotiate for 100% for the people who vote within the constituency. And the reason why I brought this policy out is that before I drafted my policy, I went throughout the whole constituency. I meet you, I ask you what you do, and then I want to find the challenges that you are going through within the constituency. And I ask you yourself, what do you think that if it's done, it will be it can curb the problem that you mentioned to me? So looking at this, if I'm able to negotiate for the 100%, it's only for active voters, only those who vote within the constituency. And one thing you have to know is that I told you that about 70% voters are the youth. And most of the youth we are talking about are people who vote within the constituency. And after 4 years, they are gone. Different set of people.
Let's
have to
go
come
to
in.
the set point.
The seed point.
Yes.
The seed point is protecting our environment for the next generation to come.
Mm.
And then we have the 7th point, which is the industrial growth and then job creation. And we have the 8th point. Is it 8th rather?
Yes,
we,
8th.
We have the 8th point, which is empowering our future. That is youth empowerment initiative. And we have the 9th one, which is enhancing security and well-being. Which one again hasn't I mentioned? I think
So
that's
with
all.
your 9th point, enhancing security,
Yeah.
it takes me back to the Ayawaso West
what
Wogon
made it very popular.
incident
Yeah, sure.
that happened in the year 2019.
Yeah.
There were some recommendations made by the ML Short Commission, and the government did its part on acting.
Sure.
What do you have to say on government's position concerning the ML Short recommendation?
Well, I think it was based on that they said they have banned what is even the group? Those people who were wearing black. Invisible forces. Is it invisible forces?
They banned the vigilante.
Yes, vigilante groups. Yes, exactly, vigilante groups. So it was alongside that they said they banned the vigilante groups. But during the 2020 elections, we had people who were wearing masks going around. We didn't know where they were going around for. And I remember this guy's incident, Bongo Ideas. The incident that happened some time ago. He said some people came out to pick him. They were dressed in black.
Till date, we haven't had
Yes,
concrete
the national
evidence. So
security came out.
we can't base
yes,
on allegation.
Yes, I'm not basing on allegation. The national security came out to say that they haven't had anybody like
Exactly.
that. The Ghana Police Service declared, and other security agencies also declared. So it means that we might be having some of these vigilante groups still in the country, if these agencies have been able to declare that. So coming back to the declaration being made, I think, well, with this declaration, it was good based on the fact that they said they've banned vigilante, but we are yet to, experience something like that. When it comes to security issues within the constituency, my pride has to be with when it comes to lightning system.
Mhm.
When you look at most of the street lights during the night hours, they are not working. You will only see the poles there, but these lights are not working.
So when you become member of parliament,
people from UPSA who complain about that. When you use that UPSA lane, UPSA road going to Accra College of Education in the night,
actually from Pentagon going through that stretch, yes,
the whole place is dark.
So
And
when
a
you
lot of-
become member of parliament for that area, what are you going to do about it?
I'm going to enhance the community police system.
Okay.
We should be able to, have a lot of, these policemen and routing throughout the whole places. And one thing that I've also come to realize is that in Ghana, when we talk about the security, mostly internal securities, we don't want to involve the military services. We don't want to involve them. It is only when we are talking about how do you call it, resolving peace, or when.
But the military's primary mandate isn't for internal.
I know the military's primary
Yes.
mandate isn't for how do we call
Internal
it?
matters of that sort, yes.
Internal matters of that sort. But when we are living in a country that maybe, excuse me to say this, we have the military there, and then we have a lot of military men within the country. I don't recall a statistic that is saying that we have, how do we call it, this number of military people within the country. But then what is their role? What are they doing? How many times do you see them? My brother, we are sitting
Then
here.
I think you should go back and look into the role of the military.
I'm coming.
Yes.
I'm not doubting about the role of the military. Or I'm not saying that it is their duty to, how do we call it, play a role in internal security matters. I am not saying that. But what I'm saying is that we need to, how do we call it, we need to change that mandate. We need to change that role so that they can assist us in some of these things. Because look, my brother, there was a, how do we call it, a survey that was made some time ago about the most corrupt institution in Ghana. And the most corrupt institution in Ghana, the Ghana Police Office was ranked first.
Rauf.
Yes.
Speak to Ayawaso West Wogon. Your last words.
My last words to the people of Ayawaso West Wogon is that I started my campaign trail that was 3 years ago, and we've really worked hard to come this far. And today that we've been able to do the filing, from today onwards we are still going to campaign as much as we can. Actually, we've shared the 10 policies with the media. We've also shared it with the people there. We actually walk to the people, we listen to their concerns, and then we're able to draft, how do we call it, this policy. So that is a policy that we believe that if the people there are able to buy into it, we'll be able to make a change. We can't have a constituency that we allow MPP and NDC to take dominance of that constituency for long. We need to break it. And in breaking this duopoly, we need no other person. We need the youth with a fresh mind to change and reset the constituency for us.
Thank you very much, Abdul Rauf Mumuni, who is the parliamentary candidate running independent for the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency. Finally, just a quick one. Which presidential candidates do you ask your people to vote for when you go around campaigning?
Actually, I don't rally for that, or I don't campaign anything that has to do with that.
Thank you very much,
when I go
Rauf.
around, I campaign for only myself.
It's been a pleasure having you in our studios.
Thank you.
And that's it for Campaign Trail and also Start Today here on Star 103.5 FM. We have more news for you on starfm.com.gh. My name is Eko Boache. Good evening.